Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. This is my Diablo kill on Hell. Solo Diablo kill. This was done with the Witch Doctor. This character was entirely soloed from 1 to 60. He had no outside help whatsoever. I did not buy anything on the auction house. It was done purely with what I found. And so on, really. Bit of a lag spike there. So... oh, also this is sped up to be about double time. This was a 27-minute long fight. This video will be about 13 minutes long. Very long fight. Diablo on Hell is basically the same as Diablo on Normal and Diablo on Nightmare. It, he, she, however you want to describe the demon, uses a bunch of attacks. She punches, she has this AoE thing where she shoots out multiple fire waves across the ground that you can dodge. These, as you see, bone cages, you can avoid these. If she's actually on screen, she telegraphs that ability. It's really distinctive and it takes a while. Her hands turn red and she channels and then she casts the ability. As you can see though, I am kind of sniping her off screen throughout this. This is the exact same way I killed her on every difficulty. Basically what I did is I used the corpse spider ability with leaping spiders so that I could just throw the grenade at the edge of the screen and then have the spiders leap on her. I also was using Fetish Army to help distract her and give me uptime and a little bit more damage, as well as Gargantuan. Now the one issue with using Gargantuan and Gargantuan respect for something like, what is it called? Restless Protector? Restless? It's a thing where after once every 2 minutes he enrages, essentially. Whatever that's called. And the one issue with using Fetish Army and the Gargantuan was she will cast like a dot on you, a fire dot that pulses when you see a circle around my feet, a small circle around the Gargantuan's feet or the Fetish's feet. That's what that is. And she'll cast it on your pets, and your pets follow you when you move far enough away from Diablo. And yeah, I finally got caught in the cage. I made sure to have just enough health to survive. It would have been even easier if I had more health. But basically what happened is, if I do happen to get in a cage, I immediately pot, followed immediately by a Spirit Walk, which also heals me. And then I will generally run to the health wells. Also I am using Hex on cooldown Spect for healing to give me extra healing. And I do have Soul Harvest Spect for healing. I don't think I used Soul Harvest once throughout this fight. Maybe once or twice. I could have used it again after she... That's the end of phase 1. After she picks me up after the cages. But I didn't use it generally. It was just too dangerous to use it for just the extra intelligence for damage. I just burst down my clone just now. Not really an issue. Again, she got me. I did one-shot this. This was my first attempt. For most of it, I wasn't really taking it super seriously, honestly. I figured I was going to die. I was waiting so that I could respec out of Soul Harvest into something that I would use more and find more useful. But it never happened. She never actually got me. I even had just a handful of potions, as you see. I think I wind up in mid-fight switching to another type of potion because I run out. I really wasn't prepared for the fight at all, to be honest. Beyond just switching to corpse spiders. But the fight, as long as you have enough health, as long as you have enough health to survive the occasional attack, as long as you have enough health to survive getting smacked in the bone cages, and I did make sure to basically always try to stay at full health at all times in case I did get stuck in the bone cages, which is by far her hardest hitting ability, so that I could actually live. That is another hard hitting ability, the big circle of death, the fire thing. If you get stuck in that and you can't get out quickly, that will kill you very, very fast, as you can see right there. I often use Spirit Walk to get out of there. This was probably one of the longest periods of time where I was hurt in the fight. Very near death for a lot of that. Finally managed to survive long enough to use a potion. But the bone cages can be avoided. It does. She telegraphs. You can see them on the ground. I think I did get hit by them maybe 3 times throughout the 27-minute fight. Maybe more. I don't really remember. That is from my Witch Doctor clone. He was using Grasp of the Dead for some reason, which is unfortunate because it actually did slow and do a ton of damage. I'm trying, I think, to put new healing potions on my bars. I'm trying to just see where they are. Unfortunately, they were on cooldown, so they were grayed out, and I couldn't actually see them in my inventory. But I did manage to put it on my bars. Resplendent. I was using the mystical or mythic or whatever they're called, and I switched to Resplendent. I honestly had no idea that this fight took as long as it did. This was done on a stream. I then recorded the stream afterwards, so I apologize if the quality is not great, but I didn't actually even think to record it when I was doing it, because I didn't think I would be uploading it, but, you know, why not? And I just had no idea that the fight took anywhere near as long as it actually did. I thought maybe it took 12 minutes, but yeah, 27 minutes for this fight. I imagine it would have been quite a bit easier with the group, just because so many more people DPSing her, even with the scaling. She's only attacking one person at a time, so you would have more freedom to just open up and burst her down. And it's not as if she has... Her attacks are tremendously powerful AoEs or anything. If you just spread out, that's really not a difficulty. But the main difference between this fight on Hell and on Nightmare was simply that she had a lot more life, really. Proportionally speaking, in terms of damage, it was about the same as Nightmare. It was maybe a little more, but I had more health. I mean, it was more. It was obviously more, but I had a lot more health since Nightmare. I had, I think, around 24,000 or so health. I really would have preferred to have 30,000 at this point in the game. It's really important to spec for... Not spec, but to ensure that you have balanced stats, to ensure that you have a mix of vitality and your primary stat for damage, and even dex for dodge and armor for damage reduction. It's really helpful. And I wasn't even, I don't think, using a shield on this character. I thought I was using a crossbow, but yeah, I am using a crossbow, so I wasn't actually even using a shield. That would have been helpful for a significant increase in damage reduction on top of everything else. Yep, hit by it again. And yeah, that was bad. I also was spec the Witch Doctor as a passive, a cheat death passive essentially that saves me for a few seconds once every minute and a half. I believe that popped a few times, so that was certainly useful. So there goes that phase. This is the final phase. All that really changes in this phase is she starts using the iconic Diablo ability, the Lightning Hose ability. It does do a lot of damage, so if you happen to just get stuck in it for a long period of time, like right there, you could see how much damage it did. I tried to make sure to stay far away from her after that. It will kill you really, really quick. Now, being a Witch Doctor, I also had some innate resistances because I was stacking my main stat of Intelligence, which happens to also give you plus to all resistances, so that I'm sure helped me survive things like the big fire thing of death that you see on my right, and the lightning hose, and whatever. Apologize if my voice sounds a bit tired, but I am tired. Hopefully after some of these videos are put out, I'll finally be able to actually get a good night's sleep. Take a little break. Yeah, and I did not... That's the problem with sniping with the corpse spiders, is she's off screen, so I can't actually see her telegraphing her bone cage ability, and I tend to eventually just kind of tunnel vision her and focus on damaging her. I think after that last bone cage, though, I made it a point to just really stare at the ground underneath me and ensure that I was prepared for when she used bone cage, like right there. Fool me, what was that, 4 times shame on me, essentially, at that point. So, the life wells do regenerate health, by the way. So if you are in a bind, just run to the light wells. I highly recommend you use a movement ability for this fight. And as many survivability cooldowns as you need. I was using basically all survivability cooldowns and then just one damaging ability. And it was slow, but there was no way that I could use my hardest hitting channeled abilities on her, really, and survive. I wanted just an ability that I could spam, that did not cost mana, but I didn't have to worry about maintaining resources. And this is the same ability I used to kill her in every single phase. Just sniper with leaping corpse spiders. They jump on her, and they do decent enough damage. So, again, though this was twice as fast, it actually took quite a bit longer than this. It seemed like I also took a long time just to take out the last third or so of her health right here. We still have quite a bit of video left, and it just took a long, long time. But a big part of these fights is just maintaining you're cool throughout the fight. Don't get all excited when you're about to kill her and then screw up. Again, another freaking bone cage. Like 5 bone cages. Yay for the cheat death passive probably, and just staying at full life most of the fight whenever that happened, but you know, there's nothing to celebrate until you've actually killed her, so don't start freaking out like, oh, she's about to die, and whatever. But I was kind of amazed that I did happen to one-shot this. I mean, she's always the same. It's just more health and she does more damage, so it's just all about avoiding her attacks. Just like Belial, it's just all about avoiding his attacks. Or Osmodon, it's all about avoiding his attacks. So yeah, that is the Enrage effect on our Gargantuan. The thing with the Fetish Army and the Gargantuan in this fight, if you move far enough away from her, they just teleport to you, and they lose uptime on her, which was kind of problematic. So I do try to, when I use it, eventually kind of stay closer to her and kind of get some extra burst going on her when I use those abilities. In retrospect, I would have just not used Soul Harvest probably and tried to find a burstier ability to use temporarily when she was attacking my minions. Maybe just zombie bears or something, I don't really know, but some other ability probably just to speed the fight up to an extent. Even just a dot like Locust Swarm or Haunt to keep up on her would have probably been helpful to speeding the fight along. So I imagine, unless she gets new abilities in Inferno as well, it'll basically be the same thing. She just has a lot of health and a lot of damage. To be honest, I was kind of surprised at how little health she had. She has like 2,300,000. And considering how exponentially everything else has scaled, I would have thought she would have had quite a bit more than that, considering she had 500,000 on Nightmare. Just a little over almost 5 times that. I would have thought it would have been more like 10 times that or something ridiculous. But yeah, she had about 2,300,000 health. Granted, now that I think about it though, that was just for Phase 1 and 2. You also have to do her all over again, or rather Phase 1 and 3, you have to do her from start to finish again in Phase 2, so that's another 2,300,000 health or so, I assume. So that's actually close to 5 million, so I guess, yeah, that does scale pretty decently. It's a lot of health, for sure, it's a lot of health. I did not have amazing twink gear or anything. I did have the fortune of, I'm using this crossbow. It has about 460 PS, and then plus another close to like 150 or something poison damage, among other things. Just a rare. Though I could have even just been using a like 300 damage single hand and an offhand and done comparable damage. Maybe gotten some more health or something. So, just this final bit of health to finish off on her, and it did take a surprisingly long time. I was getting rather fatigued at this point. I had no idea how long this fight actually took me. I wasn't even thinking about it. I even eventually started just trying not to even look at her health bar. And just, she's dead when she's dead, don't worry about it. She is about to die, though. That's the thing about Diablo. Once you get her down to, like, 10% health, she goes into this weakened phase where you can just kill her. That's it, guys. That's Diablo. I have to say, a little disappointed that I didn't get anything but blue items. They weren't even that good in retrospect. And throughout all of Act 1, or rather all of Normal, Nightmare, and Hell, I never once found a legendary item. I was kind of hoping on Diablo. Alright, real quick, I would like to show you guys my spec. So hang on just a second, we'll transition to that. I was using Corpse Spiders with Leaping Spiders as the rune, so that I could throw the jar off screen and then the spiders would jump on her. I was using Spirit Walk spec for Healing Journey, so it also healed me for about 14% health over 2 seconds whenever I used it. Using Soul Harvest for the intelligence buff, even though I only ever had one target, so it wouldn't be as massive a buff as it normally is. Spec for Siphon to also heal me for just another defensive cooldown. Never really used it, but it was there just in case. Using Hex, which normally turns enemies into chickens, but she's immune to that. But more importantly, Hedge Magic. Shaman periodically healed me for almost 2,000 health. Then I was using the Gargantuan, and it was Restless Giant. I combined Restless, I think, with Wrathful Protector or something. Restless Giant, so he Enraged every 2 minutes or so, doing bonus damage, bonus movement speed, bonus attack speed. In retrospect, I could have used other things, maybe used just Wrathful Protector to use him as a cooldown, or Big Stinker when combined with, say, Bad Medicine for more damage reduction. And I believe Diablo is not immune to stuns on normal and nightmare. Don't know about hell, didn't really try to bother. That also might have been useful, but I use Restless Giant. That's kind of my typical facing a boss, use Restless Giant sort of cooldown thing. Then I was using Fetish Army Spect for Headhunters, which basically it was just for uptime, just to distract her, allow me to burst her down a little faster without having to move. And the Headhunters do a good amount of damage and don't require to actually move into their target, so it's just a little more supplementary damage. Passives, I use Jungle Fortitude. I use Jungle Fortitude throughout all of probably Nightmare and Hell, and a lot of even normal. It's just straight up 20% more damage reduction, which is pretty significant. On top of that, I use Pierce the Veil for 20% more damage. Corpse Fighters, for all intents and purposes, is free. I regenerate mana far faster than it actually consumes mana. So, Pierce the Veil for another 20% damage on Corpse Fighters. And then finally, Spirit Vessel for its cheat death effect. Once every 90 seconds, I can heal to 10% of maximum health. And I'm basically immune to death for like 3 seconds, so it would save my ass quite a few times in the fight. But even more so, just shaving 2 seconds off Spirit Walk is very, very, very helpful in difficult encounters. Alright guys, that's it. That was my build. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. Please like the video if it helped you. Please sub if you'd like to see more Diablo 3, and leave comments and feedback, and have a good one.